I don't know if you can hear that, but just as I went live, my neighbour, he started doing weird singing noises. He's a musician, and the room next door. This is our attic bedroom, but the room next door for our neighbour is his recording studio, and it's fairly well soundproofed, but sometimes I can hear some stuff. So I don't know if that picked up on the mic. I think he stopped. I don't know if he was just warming up or if he was just like me, randomly just being silly and making noises, which I'm one to do sometimes when I'm just, chilling out. So yeah, this is a live chat, obviously. This is going great already. I can see there's 3 of you watching. I can see the little eye, and then it says 3 next to it. But I have... Did you hear that? I don't know if my mic's picking that up. Let me know if you can hear that. I don't know if this, just as I was just about to go live, of course it would do that. Anyway, so this is the tarot of a moon garden. I always call it, until I received this damn thing, for years I've called it tarot of the moon garden, but it's tarot of a moon garden. All this time I was getting the name wrong. Oh, it's dropped down to 1 viewer now. They're like, oh, this is boring. Fair. So yeah, I'm going live at a really weird time for me again at a weekend. But yes, I did an uncharacteristic thing for me, which was I purchased a deck that seemed to be hard. It was hard to get a hold of this. This is a mass market deck, but for some reason it seems a bit hard to get hold of. And I don't know if that's like COVID related, Brexit related, or if it's just there's just not that many copies left circulating anymore. And I was like, because I was making a pouch for a friend for their birthday. They have this deck. They've had this deck since they were a teenager, and I haven't given it to them yet. I don't think they watch my channel, so it's fine. But I didn't want to ask them for the dimensions because it would give the game away. Hey, Katie. Oh my God. I just this morning watched your reading habits video. Well, about like an hour ago. And then I filmed my own version. Hello, Celia or Cilia. I apologize if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but hello from Brazil. So we've got Australia and Brazil. This was my first ever deck. Part of me wants it again. Oh, you did. So you sent it a lot on its way, did you? So yeah, I haven't opened this. So what I did is I bought it and I was like, oh, this seems hard to get hold of. I will buy it. And hi, Shauna, you're right, my love. And I will keep it as like a what do you call it? Like an investment. I have never done that. I'm not that kind of person. For me, a tarot deck's raison d'etre is to be used, which is why I struggle with having such a huge collection, because I want to use all of them and I feel bad for the ones that are just sitting there going, pick me. I'm like, I cannot pick all of you. It is impossible. And then I think what it was is that I managed to get 3 mass market decks for a really good price at the same time. One of them being the tarot, the True Heart Intuitive Tarot, which I'd wanted for the longest time, and I've really enjoyed using that. But it is now put away because it is autumn and we're having all the spooky decks. And then the Halloween tarot, which I bought for actually taking pictures of my pouches for my Halloween collection. But I also got this one because I was like, oh, it'll be an investment. It doesn't matter if I've spent more money than I should be spending, even though it's not that expensive. And I think that's probably why I said in my head, oh, I convinced myself I was just buying it as investment, but really I did just want the deck, because it's one of those. This is the funniest thing with mass market decks, and I don't know if any of you that are here or that are watching the playback with mass market, going New Zealand, Kiwi, is that because it's mass market, you kind of just go, oh, well, it'll be there, I'll pick it up. Independent decks, Kickstarter decks, Indiegogo decks, they all seem to take precedent in your wish list because they're harder to get hold of. They're more glamorous because they're independent, and they're sort of the production value on them is higher, and they're more limited in limited runs. so they're more likely to go out of print more quickly. So this little one has got bounced on and off my wish list over the years, and it got knocked down and down and down and down because other ones were taking precedence. Like when the True Heart Intuitive came out, this went down because I wanted that one more, and so I've pulled the trigger on it and then left it in a box for like 2 months going, but you know what, I'm gonna open it. So shall we have a look? I got it when I was like 14. No idea what happened to my original copy. Oh no! Maybe it's knocking about somewhere in your parents' place. Maybe it will turn up. That would be so cool. Tanu, hello. Joey, afternoon everyone. Hope you're all doing well. And Julia, hello Julia. Lovely to see you. What was that Shauna was saying just a couple of years ago then, Katie? Hi Debbie, Aquarius Owl, you all right? Oh my god, 14. Well, I'm going to be 41 in January, so 14 was almost 3 decades ago for me. I got my first deck when I was about 16. 15. No, I must have been. I'm so sure it was 1997. It may have been 1998. I was like 16 or 17. But yeah, I still have mine though. Mine was the Osho Zen, and I still have it and I still use it. Although I did trim those bloody keywords off in the end. And I know, Katie, I remember you talking about the keywords. Some of the keywords are problematic, and I'd always had problem with certain keywords on there. And generally, as a rule, I don't like keywords on decks. Now I'm thinking of your video where you went, it's got keywords in it, and I'm basic, and I'd like to be told what the cards mean or something on your, like, what your favorite deck says about you. I'm 31 in a few days, so a good while ago for me. To be 31 though. So I've got to, so your birthday's in a few days, Katie. Well, happy birthday in advance. I hope that you have a good day, whatever you get up to. Although I think, are you still in lockdown? Because I turned 40 in January this year. And we were on a strict lockdown, and we had planned to go for a walk with the dog. I was like, well, at least we can go for a walk we could go for a walk in the park. And then I woke up and it was a massive snowstorm, like blankets of thick snow everywhere. And I'm like, oh, well, guess we're not going anywhere. It was freezing cold, and it was the kind of snow where you can't see shit. You look out the window and it's like just white. And I'm like, well, guess I'm staying in all day for my birthday. And I was fine for until we got to about 6 o'clock in the evening. And me and my husband had finished watching a film, and we'd ordered pizza or something. And we finished watching a film, some comedy vampire film. And then I just burst out crying because I had always had these ideas about what I wanted my 40th birthday to be. And I couldn't do it. And I know they're like #first world problems, but I had been so looking forward to turning 40 for so long. Like, I'm one of those people that generally embraces each birthday that comes, because I have friends that are no longer here that would probably put up with crow's feet and sagging boobs and bums to just be here, right? Because it's all it's all superficial. Of course, we want to look cute, but also it's nice to just be here, right? So yeah, it was tough, and I'd wished that I had actually organized like a Zoom party with some of my friends, or just gone live or something, because I was kind of hoping my husband had planned something online with friends, but he hadn't. He was like, oh, if I'd known. And I'm like, okay, never mind. But he did organize a beautiful cake baked for me, and gorgeous presents, and it was just really difficult not being able to see people. Anyway, I'm sure loads of you can relate, because we've all been through it, right? So woe is me, cry me a river, I guess. Osho Zen was very problematic for me as a kid, says Joey. Can I ask something? You can, but as I always say, it doesn't always mean I will answer it. I'm not doing readings, by the way. That's not what this is. Thank you. Yes, another birthday in lockdown, but happy and healthy, so no complaints. That's the main thing. I wish I could say happy and healthy as well, though, but my mental health has been in the shitter this year. And my physical, mental, physical, it's all the fucking same. Your brain's in the middle of your skull. That separation does sort of wind me up a bit because it's one and the same, right? And they feed into each other. But like, I've spoken very openly about, I've had a lot of health issues. I'm sitting here with some like real pain going on, and I'm still like, I have health anxiety as well. So I'm like convinced myself that that's something serious. But yeah, I've been bouncing around hospital appointments and GP appointments and all sorts of bloody stuff this year, and it's been really stressful. Going to the hospital when you have a phobia of hospitals and there's a pandemic and you're like being scanned for really scary things, really not the one. 0 out of 10 do not recommend. So yeah, so I'm glad that you're being positive about it, Katie. I do hope you have a lovely day. Anyway, just fucking get on with it, right? Jeez. It's going great. I just realized, shit, I've just spilt water on myself. I don't have a towel. I do have a towel. The towels are in my linen. Oh, do you know what? It's fine. Let's just wipe it. Looks like I've pissed myself. It's fine. This is going so well. Hang on. I just need to dry my hands on my trousers. I was just about to say, I feel like I'm channeling 90s Kelly with the space buns, because partially how I got a bit of my nickname. What is going on? They're all wonky. Who cares? Okay, so let's just open this thing, right? Let's crack open. This is what you're here for. Not me just chatting shit for 10 minutes straight. I think this is an official. I was like, because you just don't know these days whether it's like a knockoff or not. I did buy it from Wordery or Book Depository, one of the t'other. So I'm guessing it's legit. It's got like the barcode and the ISBN numbers and stuff on it. But Tarot of Moon Garden. Well, I've taken the wrapper off now, so that's it. I've got to go for it. Surprisingly, the tuck box isn't one of those tight tuck boxes where you can't get the cut, like where it's a really tight fit. I hate that. So it's more plastic, more plastic. Is that the deck with the alien-looking faces? It does have kind of a little bit. Are you thinking of the Sacred Rose? I've got that one as well. I've got a vintage copy of that. That one has quite alien-looking faces. The artwork in the Sacred Rose Tarot puts me in mind very much of Rodaleen Norton's artwork. She was an Australian occult artist. Really interesting woman. Katie might know about Rodaleen Norton, being in Aussie. Not that I'm assuming that you just because that she was Australian, that you know every single Australian person, but you know what I mean. And also the Tarot of the She has that very Rodaleen Norton-esque, and some of the Marielle artwork, it's that sort of, slightly alien-esque, the way that she looked with her eyebrows and the sort of short hair and the Book Depot gets stuff direct from distributors. So it should. Oh, cool. Okay, thank you, Katie. That is a good. Do you know what? I'm going to put that up just so other people know. I'm keen to see what you think. I vaguely remember some of the printing being. Yeah, do you know what? Because the part of me thought that it was fake because it's kind of fuzzy, but I'm like, oh, do you know what? It's the 90s. Sacred Rose, yeah, that one. I struggle to read with that one because it's Rider-Waite-Smith based, but not, and like. It kind of deviates a bit and it throws me off. And there's a separate guidebook that you can get, but it's really hard to get hold of. And I wish I'd picked up a copy that I saw about 3 years ago, which was about 30 quid. And it's like a thin paperback. And I was like, oh, I'm not paying that. But now it's like redonkulous. And I just wish that it would be made available on a like print on demand or like a digital version. There's another book. There's another guidebook that I wanted to get that is out of print and hard to get hold of. There's the Halloween Tarot one I want to get because Halloween Tarot is one I've been using recently. But what's the other one? Oh, God. There's another like mass market deck that I own. Oh, it's going to bug me. It might come back to me. So tempted to say Rodaleen is my neighbour, but no, I have no idea who she is. Well, she's very, very dead because she died in 1979. But she was an artist and she was a witch. And she was really interesting and sort of pushing those boundaries of obscenity laws and stuff like that. And she was ahead of her time because she was creating art in the 50s that she was sort of arrested for, and for her exhibitions were closed down in Melbourne. Actually, she traveled to Melbourne to do for an exhibition that she had, and it was like closed down because it was seen as obscene. And come the sort of mid to late 60s, there were people kind of doing what she was doing, or just exploring the themes that she was exploring, and it was pushing those boundaries, but it was seen as more acceptable because it was the swinging 60s. It's a real shame, but I feel like she paved part of the way, and she was a real part of like the Melbourne sort of art scene. And there's a documentary that came out this year, I believe, called The Witch of King's Cross. And it's really, really good. But there's also there's a podcast called What Magic Is This by a man called Douglas Batchelor. It's one of my favorites, and he's got a whole episode on Rodaleen Norton as well, which is also highly recommended. I'll try to, do you know what, I will write them down for anyone. Hello, Witch Baby Farmer. Rodaleen Norton. Links, just because fascinating woman. So yeah, very cool. Thank you for the history lesson. I'll have a look into her. Right, these women that seem to have been forgotten to time, apart from very sort of distinct circles of like esoteric and occult nerds such as myself. Natalie, I'm not saying I know more than, I just mean like, unless you're sort of moving in certain art or occult circles, you may not have heard from her, because she is quite a niche occult artist, is what I mean. So yeah, we've got our little title card that will obviously become a bookmark for me. And I'm procrastinating, by the way. I only have a few days left on of access left on the art journaling course that I bought from Buy Bun, and I still have only done half the prompts. And today I was like, well, today I'm gonna, hi Rona, I'm gonna do some art journaling. And then what am I doing? I'm making videos. I filmed a video this just before this, my first pre-recorded video in months. So I've been editing that, not editing it, doing like a title page for it before I went live. Waffle. Anyway, this isn't going to be like a full walkthrough. It's just going to be a little sort of gander. So I can already see, I've turned my ring light around, so I'm hoping you can see. We've got sort of a very jester-esque full, and I think a lot of people are put off by the big borders. Julie at Peekaboo Rose trimmed, I think she modded hers by trimming off around the corners and then colouring in the little white bits that you could still see through at the sides. I have seen years ago a woman that had modded this, I can't remember her channel, it was years ago, who had also, she'd actually trimmed off the blue sort of decorative pillar type border at the sides as well. So she ended up with this sort of small, long, skinny deck, and that was quite cool as well. But I think I'm going to leave this as is for now. I'm coming back round to borders. Isn't it funny how we sort of go through phases? So there's a little black dog. It's very cute. And there's like a white rose at their feet. Yeah, it's very busy. It's very colourful. It's very 90s. When was this originally published? I think it was originally published in the 90s, 80s or 90s. Meow. 1993. There we go. I was 12. Hi, Tyken. You're all right. I love that. Oh, we should have a look at the back, by the way. Oh, there's another card at the back. Welcome to where... Why was that at the back? That was at the back. That makes no sense when it says welcome and it's at the back of the deck. Welcome to a realm where myth and magic are reality. And then it's got a dragon, a leafy dragon. And I really like the backs of this. It's fully reversible. It's like just plants and flowers and stuff. Moons, butterflies. It's so like 90s, it hurts. For those of you who were there, you all know. We've got like a very classic wizard with a double-ended candle instead of a wand. That's pretty cool. And this is quite Pippish, this deck, from what I remember, from what I've seen. We've got a mermaid as the high priestess, which is pretty cool. And there's like a dolphin like in the background, just chilling. The Empress is a fairy. Now, I'm not a massive fan of like cutesy fairies. I did grow up with, now I grew up with a mixture of fae folk type stuff. So like there was the flower fairies and all the like Victorian-esque fairy stuff. But then I also was very into, and still am into, this sort of Brian Froud-esque, and this is long before he did his fairy oracle, but like his fairy books and his work creating fae-like creatures for the Dark Crystal, and he worked on Labyrinth as well, that kind of spooky stuff. And then my mum's side of the family is Irish, so then I was hearing like creepy stories of how the fae, like the she, would like fuck your shit up. So I had this real like mixed bag of like, wow, fairies are strange and a bit frightening. Like the banshee, my grandmother telling me a story about when she heard the banshee, and the clue is in the name, because she, banshee, the people, I don't even know if people realise that's where that she bit comes from, but now it gets spelt BANSHEE, but it's a banshee, as in fae folk. It's taking Katie back. I'm the same. Really digging borders at the moment. Regret trimming my tower of hooders. I never know how to pronounce that. I apologise. Those borders were offensive to me in my teens. Not Rona says that she loves the 90s style. Hello, Michelle. Yeah, Brian Froud, massive fan. The Emperor is looking quite sort of normal, I guess. What is normal though, right? He's lots of ram horn imagery going on his throne. Extra rammy. The Hierophant's kind of boring, but they've got what appears to be like a Stonehenge situation going on in the background and a full moon. Rather sort of simple compared to the busyness of some of the other cards. Like the Lover's card is quite busy. This is a very white cis het deck as well. Like, you know, it is what it is. Michelle is Irish. Ooh, cool. I always find the Irish is good. My family is Irish and Scottish, as in like literally people in my family are from like, as in like my grandmother is Irish, my uncles and aunts are Irish and Scottish, and my cousins, like they're actually literally Scottish. Because it's really funny with Canadians and Americans, for example, they go, oh, I'm Irish, and they mean like from like 200 years ago. Like, okay. I mean, I guess it's nice to hang on to your ancestry, but like, you know, the rest of us are like, okay. Like my husband's dad is Irish. Like, that's why we eloped, by the way, is because our families, it's no myth that Irish families tend to be redonkulously huge. The smallest family wedding I've ever been to had like 200 like attendees, guests. We were not doing that, because both our side, the Irish side of both our families is huge, and we were just like, let's just elope, shall we? I'm pretty sure that's why my in-laws, my husband's mum and dad, they eloped as well. And I think it's probably because they didn't want to do the huge Irish wedding either. Also, there would have been expectations for like Catholic Church, and I'd probably like burst into flames. No, it was not happening. You're real Irish born and bred. Do you know what I mean though, Michelle, with when people go, oh, I'm Irish, and then they're like, they mean no, like there's no like thingy to it. I just thought it's kind of sweet, but also kind of funny. Whereabouts, Michelle? My family's from Donegal. Oh, yes, my dad says we're Irish. Well, was 9 generations back. Katie knows what I mean. So we've got a strength. I'll probably like show you the majors, and then I'll have a quick look through the minors myself and pick out ones that I particularly like. That lion looks a bit freaky. 100%. I do get, well, you know, Mary from. Do you know Mary from Kildare? Do you know what though? The funniest thing is the number of people that I've met that are like from Donegal that then like knew people from my family. I'm like, get the heck out of here. But yeah, people think that you know like every person. I've had that from London when I've been in the States, and I've been, where are you from? And I'm like, London. And then they're like, oh, I've got a friend from London. Do you know? And I'm like, do you know how big London is? What is that? So strange. People are wild. The Hermit's pretty cool. Look at that lamp. It's really glowing. Oh my god, the light's not great. Lots of butterfly imagery in this. Lots of moons. Which, you know, considering it's called Tarot of a Moon Garden, it would make sense, I guess. I'm 100% Scottish ancestry, told me. Oh, cool. As in for me, though, to be 100% Scottish is you have to have all your parents are Scottish and going back is Scottish, and then you were born in Scotland. Like I say I'm English. When I put my nationality, I say British actually, but like the majority, I was born here, but the majority of my family were born in Scotland or Ireland. But I was born here. Yes, says Rhoda. Yes, what? I'm not sure. Wheel of Fortune, which is a carousel with like some very sort of left of field Egyptian iconography with some kind of sphinx-like creature at the top, and lots of strange. It's not just horses. We've got a snake, a bull, or a griffin, a lion, a sort of Anubis-esque dog. Very strange mix. The 90s was very, like, I remember lots of, they were born here and so was I. In Scotland, Rona. Oh, cool. Okay. That's cool. I thought, are you in Scotland, Rona? Why did I think you were in the States? Am I like, oh my God, my brain. That's so cool. Whereabouts in Scotland? I've got family in Edinburgh. Well, they've moved now. Helensburgh, Glasgow, Inverness, Inversnecky, and Glover. Some in the Highlands. Oh, cool. Why did I think you were in the States? I'm sure you've told me this before, Rona. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm remembering. My memory is so bad. Oh my God, I bet you have like the most beautiful lilting Scottish accent. Scottish accent is like my favorite, which is why when I play D&D, my character, my fighter, Bodmal, is she's Scottish. Because it just is my favorite accent. And I'm jealous of all my like family, all my cousins that got like really cool Scottish accents. Near Edinburgh. Oh, I love Edinburgh. Gorgeous. Lovely. Although so touristy though, right? And I can feel the pain because there's a Londoner that grew up near Camden Town. The number of tourists. It's a bit like, oh, sometimes I'm like, could you just get out of the way? Because I have stuff to actually do. Like, I have a life to live, and like, but also I appreciate that people want to come and visit. And no, I am a mutt, but my great grandfather was from County Meath in Ireland. Cool. I have English, Irish, Scottish, and Polish ancestry, says Shauna. Edinburgh. That lovely, soft Edinburgh accent. We've got Justice. But yeah, I was going to say the 90s had a big, yen for, like, Egyptian stuff. It seemed to be a thing at the time. Hanged Man. Of all the like mushrooms growing up one of the trees. Stuff falling out of his pockets, or is that? Oh, it's runes. It looks like there's runes falling out of his pockets or something. Can you see the runes around his head? Ooh. Ooh. Should we see if that's mentioned in the little white book? I doubt it. This is US Games, so the whole book is going to be in English. It's not going to have like multiple So there's not much information. Justice, the Hanged Man, life in suspension, transition, change, reversal of the mind and in one's way of life, apathy and dullness, abandonment, renunciation, the changing of life's forces, the period of respite between significant offence, sacrifice, repentance, readjustment, regeneration. Oh, like Doctor Who. The approach of new life forces. And then it's got reverse meanings. Lack of sacrifice, unwillingness to make the necessary effort, failure to give to oneself, preoccupation with the ego, false prophecy, useless sacrifice. So yeah, it doesn't actually go into that. I'll have to look up those. Oh man, the death is pretty metal though. There's like a purple dragon, and then death looks really cool. Again with the white rose, keeping with the imagery, which would, you know, in the Smithwaite where the rose is on the flag that Death is holding on the horse. So he's got a dragon, or they've got a dragon, I should say, because why would Death be gendered? Oh, we've got a unicorn and an angel. Oh my goodness. This makes me think of, you know, when I talk about oracle decks and how I don't get on with a lot of them, because you just see pictures of like unicorns giving fairies giving unicorns a bath with the word like majestic underneath, and you're like, I don't know what to do with that. This deck is a little bit like that, but I feel like this is speaking to like inner slightly pre-goth teen Kelly from the 90s. I mean, unicorns! Got our angel. The Temperance is usually an angel, so it's fine. Yeah, the Death card's cool. Oh, Sammy, Witch Baby Farmer, that's cool. The Devil's pretty cool. It's a bit sort of not impressionist, like it's a bit abstract, I should say, not impressionist. Like it's sort of a floating head, and then you can see the two supplicants, or not supplicants, the two sort of people that are usually chained up just behind them, almost like they're hiding. Has a bit of a Baphomet feel going along up here. There's sort of, yeah, a bit Baphomet vibes. Trippy Devil. Yeah, it's pretty trippy. It's like the 60s and the 90s just sort of smooshed together. Do you know what I mean? Because it's got some trippy elements to it. The Tower. Maybe it was done by an artist that was born in the 60s, and it sort of has that nostalgia because they were a kid, but then it's got that 90s flavor to it art-wise, like late 80s, early 90s. I love that you can just see some legs sticking out, because they could have been diving to safety. They may not have actually ended up getting hurt. So it's quite cool. Maybe she's escaping and she's a mermaid, and her like in Splash when her Madison goes into the water and she gets a tail. My granddaughter loves unicorns. Got her a unicorn oracle. That's cute. I've got the Crystal Unicorn Tarot here, which is cute. This is the thing. I do like cute stuff, but for the most part, I'm a spooky bitch. But I don't negate the cuteness, obviously, because otherwise I wouldn't have bought this or the Crystal Unicorn Tarot. Sometimes you just need some unicorns. The friend that I made the pouch for their copy of this deck for their birthday, they have so many unicorns. Like their bedroom is just full of unicorns. It's like a lot. Like I have a unicorn here. This is Millefoy. This is like the only unicorn I have. This was a gift to me from Simon at the Hermit's Cave. I was like, thank you, because I was looking at it in a shop, and he was like, this was a few years ago. And he was like, he gave it to me when we got back. I was like, oh, you sneakily bought that. How many decks do you have, Kelly? At this point, I don't know. I've lost count. Honestly, maybe 125, maybe less, maybe more. Hi, Claire. You all right? So we've got the Star. And they were like, we cannot have boobs in this deck. It's too cute for boobs. So they've done like a side on, and they're like super flat chested. So you don't even get a side boob. Free the boobs. There's nothing wrong with boobs. Boobs are great. It makes me think of the Circo Tarot. They did a mass market version called How to Deal, and they I've spoken about this before. They changed some of the artwork out that had a bit of nudity and sort of pubic hair and stuff like that. And I thought it was really, really strange that they did that, because it feels very prudish. It wouldn't have been the artist, obviously. Is it Maria Pena? It would have been the publishing house. And I thought it was very strange that they changed up some of those images, because they are literally targeting teen girls and early 20s girls, women, young women. And they see that was literally their target audience for that deck. And those teen girls and 20-something-year-old women, generally as a rule, you know, will have bush and boobs. That's like their own body. You're censoring what they are looking at when they are naked in the mirror. Like, it's so absurd to me. And also, I think it's positive and affirming to see these bodies in cards, and to see that it's fine to like have boobs and bush. Like, what? Yeah, free the boobs, free the nip. It's so hard to find a good unicorn oracle, says Joey. Yeah. Where do you keep them all? This is the problem, Witch Baby Farmer, because this is why I want to like de-stash my collection, because I don't have anywhere to keep them. I'm not one of those people that has like shelves to put them on. I have 2 like plastic bins over there that have all my decks in, and then I have my little case, you know, my little which the decks that I'm working with that month or that season go in. And then I also have some over in the corner on my desk, are the ones that I use most for photographing my pouches, for my standard sized pouches. They're like standard sized decks, and I try to match the deck to the pouch for the photographs. It's aesthetically pleasing, obviously. So I have those out all the time, and I will use those as well. Like if I want to, I've got like the Ostara there, the Wild Unknown, the Marshmallow, the Tarasarin, which I've used this summer. I will use it for photographs, but also I will grab it and use it if I want to use it. So, but yeah. No, I'm very flat-chested, so no, it's not a thing for me. But even if you're flat-chested, there's still chest, you know what I mean? So yeah, where do I keep them all? That is a giggle. Like, I would love to have like shelving that I could put them all on and grab them, and I think that's part of the anxiety. I don't have anywhere to put them and enjoy them and just grab them, so it's a real faff getting them out. And it doesn't look like there's ever going to be a time anytime soon where I'm going to have somewhere to be able to put them, you know, who knows. So not the boobs in the deck. That's more compact than I would have thought. Yeah, it's just two bins there, and even one of them is only half full, so there's room for expansion. But we're not gonna do that anyway. The moon card for the moon garden. I love that it's like a full-on castle. Look at the faces in the moon, and then we've got our crustacean, and you can just about see they're very small. You've got like a larger wolf-like creature, and then a small like sort of domestic dog there. I love the way these ferns are drawn. I find it really satisfying. But yeah, it feels so much like my like teens, like the early to mid 90s vibes. The sun. Now for a change, I don't mind the naked child on a horse. That sun's like eyelash game's a bit extra though. Totally wearing falsies, I'm calling it. Yeah. Lots of sunflowers. And look at the wings on the Pegasus. It's a Pegasus, not just a horse. Look at those rainbow wings. Gorgeous. Really pretty. Rainbow and their tail is rainbow-tastic as well. Oh, it's such like rainbow deck. Hello, Amber. You did say one day you'll make it live, and here you are. Hello. Welcome. You made it. I am so glad. Judgment. I swear it's like every person in this deck is just skinny and white. The world is like a fairy ballerina, and there's like creepy faces in the, I don't know if you can see, like ghost spirit faces. You know, when you see those old pictures of like mediums and spiritualists that had like made apparitions appear, and they were obviously later revealed to be false, and they did all the like fake ectoplasm, which was clearly like muslin. Like, looking at it as with our like hindsight, we're like, how did they fall for that? But I guess people were a lot more naive and technology was different then. I don't know, but can you see the creepy face? What the hell is that? Terrifying. Ugh. Ah, don't like that. Creepy. So, oh my god, what? King of Swords is first? Excuse me? Okay, well, he looks bored. And a bit like he's got a stick up his butt. But here's the King of Swords, so probably. I'm just going to sort of go through this quite quickly. The dragonflies in the swords. Oh, that was it. Yeah, the swords are represented. They're a bit different to like your standard tarot decks. The dragonflies. But the dragonflies, the tail of the dragonfly, like, can you see? It's actually like they're sword flies, dragon swords, dragonfly swords, dragon blades. No, anyway. But yeah, so that's the see how it's this kind of pippish. And again for the 9, but you've got the little bit at the bottom, so it indicates sort of referring to the Smithwaite with the woman in bed, sort of her head in her hands, having had the woken from a nightmare. After the Wild Unknown talk, I got mine out yesterday. Yay! Awesome sauce. The 8 of Swords, see, surrounded by all the dragonflies. I mean, if I had that many dragonflies, like I love dragonflies, but if I had that many big ass dragonflies like around me, I'd probably be freaked out as well. So yeah, 6 of Swords, another fabulous dragon. Their wings and the colours are different for each card. It's not just the same dragonflies. Oh, there's a little unicorn. Oh my god, yeah, I'm here for the unicorn content. It's very sort of, yeah, very busy, very lush. Almost has a nouveau-esque feel, which makes sense because the psychedelic posters of the late 60s and early 70s were actually taking inspiration from nouveau artists. So then if you're referencing psychedelic art, you're sort of by extension referencing Art Nouveau. It's a thread through everything. Everything moves in cycles, right? So fascinating. Sorry about the art talk. I don't know if that's boring for people. There's, again, What Magic Is This? There was a really good episode of, I believe it was What Magic Is This? It might have been something else actually, where they were talking. No, it was Arnemancy podcast where they did a whole episode on Alphonse Mucha, who was also an occultist and a hermeticist. I'd recommend that as well for those who are interested. I'm going to write that down. Podcast for those who are interested. The Queen is doing proper side eye. Is that showing up? It just looks like her eyes are closed here, but she's actually looking down, going. And she's got blue eyeshadow on, so it makes it look like her eyes are closed, or that she's got a black eye. It appears like she's got an Eye of Horus thing going on as well. Yeah, I think she, or is it just her eyeshadow, her mascara? You can see she's got this sort of very stylized cat. The cat looks angry. Oh, the Knight of Staffs is very cool. So the staffs are just like big, massive branches. You find it interesting, Witch Baby Farmer. Thank you. It's always like always dropping. I retain like such useless information. It was useful when you're studying art and design, and when you like working in art design, but not so much for like tarot people. Oh, Katie. Oh, cute. It is. Oh, do it. See, here you go. It's, again, that sort of pippish feeling. It's almost like they're just walking through the woods, and you can see that castle in the background. Interesting. So it's almost like instead of like you're carrying the burden, you have to like there's barely a space to get through. You've got to fight your way through, navigate through the woods to make it to your destination, to where you need to be, and that it can be quite like spooky, right? Going into the woods. Many a fairy tale starts or ends up in the woods. There's into the over the garden wall, ends up in the they're in the woods and over the garden wall. There's a little unicorn peeking around. I love. Oh, there's a face behind there. I never noticed that before. There's just someone peeking out from behind. Can you see an eye and like a headband? Oh, that's kind of giving me chills. That's weird. It's like it's looking out at me. So yeah, it's pretty much sort of majestic unicorns walking through trees. Cute. See, nods to the Smith way with the person holding up the globe and looking out over the water for the two there. Setting their ships a sail. I'm loving all the unicorns. And now we go on to the cups, which are just, they are just cups in this. The kings just look so mardy and bored. More fairy folk, butterfly fairies. I like creepy fae. I'm just here for the creepy fae folk. I'm not so into like the cheesy fair. Like, you know, when you see those decks, those oracles, and the fairies are all like skinny, pretty white chicks with like butterfly wings. I'm like, no. And it's all like, especially when it's like super digital. I know each their own, but those kind of decks just make me sort of just go, what? I think I'm allergic to them. Like there was that question that Roman Biscotti, Tangi, always asks in people, like, if you could be any mythical creature, what would you be? And when I was asked it, I said a mermaid, and people were like, a mermaid. I'm like, no, but like the OG, like sirens, the ones that would like fuck your shit up, the creepy shit ones that were like drag sailors to their death, those mermaids. They're not the sanitized mermaids. And there's been several horror films actually made about mermaids. There's one called Lure, which I think I can't remember if is it Polish or Croatian. I can't remember. And then there's I can't remember the names of this, but there's been a few like mermaid, terrifying mermaid, scary mermaids horror films made over the last few years, and I'm here for it. Basically, you do have the Scottish Standard, yeah. Well, that reminds me of the book, The Unicorn. Oh, and do you remember the cartoon, The Last Unicorn? Oh, I watched that as a kid. I've spoken often about how kids of the 80s just got like the most traumatizing, dark viewing, like Watership Down, The Last Unicorn, The Never-Ending Story, Legend, Krull, The Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, Willow, like the list goes on. And nowadays you don't get like proper creepy traumatizing kid shows. It's probably a good thing, but I turned out okay. Like, I'm a horror fan. Scary singing mermaids, yeah, the scary ones. So again, with the cups, it's more about the cups than it is about what's going on. We've got here this person languishing in a garden. Look at that spider web over the moon. This camera on my... Do you know what? This laptop, I've only had a year or thereabouts, and yet the camera on it, the webcam, is worse quality than my old, less good laptop. What the fuck is that about? It really winds me up. Maybe that's part of the reason I don't like filming videos on my laptop anymore, like filming, pre-recording, because I'm like, it just looks bobbins. Who wants to watch that? So we've got the Acer cups. That's interesting because you've got them all left behind. There's no one here. You don't even see the back of someone walking away in the distance. You do have the tiny little moon with its face in the moon there. Just left, abandoned. Like, you know, like when people go on picnics at the park and then they just leave all their rubbish, which winds me up so much. And they're like, oh, we didn't want to carry it back. I'm like, you fucking carried it all in carrier bags and it was a lot bigger and heavier then. So just take it with you if there's no bins. How old are you? 5? Ugh. Sorry, it's a real bugbear of mine. People littering our like parks and marshes. They want to like enjoy nature, but they don't want to fucking respect it. 6 of Cups. That's interesting. Again, we've got the wall, the garden wall, over the garden wall, and the cups on the wall again, but no people in it. Very, very pippish. Very, very interesting. Yeah. And then we've got, yeah, it's interesting. There's lots, I keep seeing like hot air balloons as well. We've got no people in the 5, but then we've got like a fairy meditating or sulking, the sulky card, as I like to call it, in the 4. So it's a real like mixed bag. It's like I call them hybrid decks. So you've got like situational or scenic pips like the Smithwaite or the Sasa Rivito for the most part. Some of the cards are pippish, or the I don't know, the Ostara Tarot. And then you've got Marseille and Pip decks where you're just getting the representation of the suit, multiple, like the depiction of the numerical depiction of the suit. And then you've got hybrid decks which do both. So this feels like it does both. The tarot, the Pagan Otherworld Tarot is one that does that, because you've got all that sort of pippish feeling, and then you've got a little bit of scenic going on as well. The Old English Tarot does that. The Anima Mundi Tarot does that, you know. 3 of Cups is strange because you've got, instead of people dancing, you've got people like actually hiding in cups. Maybe they're little tiny fairies because they fit inside cups, and they're like, it's basically the equivalent of like a hot tub for them. Your own personal hot tub, I don't know. Little Thumbelina-esque fairies. Yes. There's the ace. Most people like to see the aces, don't they? That's quite classic, but just within the deck style. King of Pentacles again, looking grumpy. The pentacles in this are weird. They're like spheres or bubbles or balls. Well, I guess balls are spheres. Bubbles are also spheres. They are spheres with spheres. They are spheres with pentacles on them. They are spheres with pentacles on them. So there's a queen hugging her buble, her bubble. What the? It's like a marble, because you can see the trim of her outfit, her coat or cloak, reflected there in it. Maybe it's like, maybe they're really tiny and these are marbles that someone's lost their marbles and these folk have picked them up. I've made myself laugh at my stupid jokes. All of the knights are on unicorns. Page of Pentacles. That's huge. They must be very light. If that was a marble, that'd be quite heavy for a little wee fairy. 10 of Pentacles is interesting because it looks like someone riding off with someone on their horse under a bridge off to a castle in the background. Very fairy tale-esque. Again, fairy tales have been very sort of polished up and sanitized, haven't they? But they're actually really, really dark. I watched The Little Mermaid a few weeks ago with my husband, and I was saying how it was. I went to see it at the cinema, actually. I was about 8. It became one of my favorite films because I was so amazed to see a red-headed protagonist with a fringe, because I had a big boofy fringe and long red hair, because I had long red hair. And I was like, oh, wow, it's someone who looks like me. And no one was making fun of her for being a redhead. She was like, you know, although like her decisions are very sort of questionable, obviously. And we didn't have much money, and getting hold of like VHSs, and you'd usually have to wait a couple of years before a video was able to buy VHS, able to buy, like to watch at home. And I think it ended up being shown on TV at one point, and my mum taped it off the telly onto a VHS, like a blank tape. But I remember going to my grandmother's house, my dad's mum, and she was like, oh, I keep hearing that you really like the Little Mermaid cartoon. I got it for you. And I was like, oh my God, wow. And I sat down, she put it on, but it was the old school, like Hans Christian Andersen version. It wasn't the one I was expecting. And it ends very differently to how I thought it was going to end. It ends in the way of the original story. really bleak, right? So I felt really disappointed, but I eventually came round to also enjoying that version and would also watch that version on occasion. My grandmother did eventually, my nan, she did realise and managed to get a copy, I think, of the Disney version eventually. But yeah, we had to just make do with what we got. So if anyone else had it, we would, you know, people would borrow videos off each other. Do what you can, right? The 9 of Pentacles is pretty cool. We've got a peacock instead of a hawk. We've got the grapes and a gate. And then all these like floating pentacle. I'm going to say they're bubbles. But then how are they holding them? Because they'll break. I'm overthinking this. It doesn't matter. It's a magic world. It's just hashtag magic. The 8 of Pentacles I really like because there's little paint palette and paintbrush there, which I can relate to. When I did hair and makeup, when I was doing hair and makeup, I'm not doing it now. I actually use, because you can get like little square or rectangular palettes that lots of makeup artists use to, instead of, you know, so you can mix products for your clients. And my makeup artist friends would make fun of me because I literally used, I'll show you, it's right here. My palette was actually like an artist's palette for when I was like mixing stuff for my clients. Hiya, I'm recording live. So my husband's just come back with the dog, walking the dog. So yeah, so people would make my fellow makeup artists would make fun of me. They're like, trust you to have like a fucking like palette. So yeah, I'd have my like my makeup brushes and my my makeup palette. Oh dear. Yeah, the little, yeah. So yeah, fairy tales are actually, yeah, they're pretty dark when you think about it. So 7 of Pentacles. I'm going to wrap this up because my husband's back and I'm really hungry. I really want to make myself some lunch. Let's look at the 5 because that's actually got a cloud. That's the only card so far that has like a full on just like a building and no like natural scenery. Look at these beautiful stylized snowflakes. And it looks like instead of stained glass, it looks like the pentacles are actually inside. They're indoors. Last few cards. 4 of Pentacles. Well, isn't this person just ennui personified? They look more sort of sad than miserly. What? 3 of Pentacles. I love this. Can you see that they're transparent? You see? Can you see the window through them? Of course you can. And then there's like just lots of foliage outside the window and a butterfly and a little star and a moon because it's Moon Garden after all. 2 again has a very jester-esque feel. Very clown-like, very circus-esque. There are some circusy carnival elements to this, aren't there? Because you had the carousel as the Wheel of Fortune, which I really enjoy. And the Ace with a unicorn, Pegacorn, Pegasus. There's no horn flying across the top because why not? So yeah, I'm excited to have this deck. Do you know what? Did you hear why? Did you hear my tummy grumbling? Oh no, because I said I wanted to make food. I literally just forgot what I fucking said. You know what? Yeah, I was hungry before I started. And I've really got to get on with doing some art journaling after Lunchables. Obligatory. US games. Of course, it's going to shuffle really nicely. Thank you, Katie, for joining in. I hope that you let us know if you pick it up again. I'm sure you will. The nostalgia vibes. Oh dear. But yeah, I'm always starving at the end of my videos. I'm sure now. Yeah, it shuffles really nicely. I might pull a card. Sacre bleu. What is this? Should I pull a card? Who wants me to pull a card? Might as well. This is a tarot channel after all. And then what I'll do is I'll give my interpretation and then I'll have a look at the guidebook, shall I? And then we're just over an hour then. Go on. Oh, go on then. Oh, go on. Just give it a good shuffle. I apologise if the noise is really annoying. I do love. I've already seen. I've got a tiniest bit of a bend in there. Yes, please, says Katie. Pull, 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 pull. I always like to do at least 3 times overhand because 3 is the magic number, right? And I like to do at least 9 riffle shuffles to start off with because I read somewhere, I can't remember, I think it was the Jack of Wands blog where Jack did a post a couple of 2 or 3 years ago where he worked out the mathematics of the best sort of randomization you can get with a deck, and you need at least like 9 shuffles to like fully reset the deck. I've bought myself 3 decks for my birthday. What's one more? Right? It's your birthday. Treat yourself. You deserve it. This is the thing. We all enable each other. I think as long as this is the thing, because this is a conversation that's going around a lot at the moment, and there seems to be a bit of snipiness going on. Some people getting upset or, you know, and I think, you know, as long as it isn't causing you as long as it's not causing problems for you, essentially, like buying and it's not getting you in trouble monetarily or mentally, you know, buying decks or 3 cards. I was going to pick one, but the 3 jumped out at the same time, and that's too many. Oh, I'm saying that though, I tend to read with 3 cards as a rule, so maybe it was doing me a solid and going, here's 3. It's mostly just because I'm clumsy and I'm talking whilst shuffling, which I don't usually do. Oh, sorry, I just love shuffling. Can you tell? But yeah, I mean, I've been in a position where buying decks is causing me anxiety because I get very overwhelmed by stuff, and I'm not having the space to keep them and not being able to put them up on shelves and enjoy them and use them. But, you know, I wasn't putting myself in debt for it, and it wasn't that kind of situation. It was a mental thing, which is why I did a depth year. And there's space for all of it. Like for some people, it's an issue. For some people, it's not. Some people like a big collection. Some people don't. Some people collect and read. Some people just collect. Like, it doesn't really fucking matter. Just let people just get on with it. You know what I mean? Like, life is hard enough already without like being judgy about how other people. As soon as you state that something is the case, but just because something's the case for you, it must be the case for everyone else. You're stepping on sort of shaky territory there, I think. So you do you, but like, you know, let people do whatever they want. As long as nobody ends up living in a house of cards, says Wish Baby. Yeah. We all have free will to make our minds up. Yeah, and there also has to be an element of personal responsibility as well. Right, so we're gonna do. Oh, you did buy the Orions because, you know, you were saying that it was a Melbourne artist, and so you were, Fifth Spirit as well, and the Gentle Tarot. Nice. Will you be doing videos? Okay, I'm just going to pull off the top. The 5 of Staffs. So the 5 of Wands. That's interesting because for me, 5's a disruption. 5 is fire, the element of fire, element of Wands. And I like to take the view that Tom Benjamin takes, that all cards start at neutral. So some people will see the 5 of Wands and immediately see that as a negative card, and I don't. And actually, I feel like I'm being called out by this card because I keep procrastinating with my art journaling, and I'm running out of time with the video access to the course that I've bought. And I guess that's part of me needing a deadline to get stuff done. But you can also, it's disruption, but it can also be all of these sticks. Can you see these trees? They're all falling over each other, but they could be rubbing together. If you rub sticks together, if you know what you're doing, you can create fire, right? So there's this disruptive element, this creativity. So ones to me are passion, creativity, an element of the physical realm there, willpower. I need to disrupt. I need to shake it up and just get there and do the thing and get those sticks rubbing together and making that art. For me today, this was very much to do with today. And for those of you, the rest of you out there, you know, do you need to shake up is there how you're doing things, or are you finding that your sense of willpower has been shaken, your drive has been shaken, that foundation, and you've lost that drive, and you feel unstable in that? So yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I'm just squeaky elbows on the table. So yeah, it feels very much like, for me, it feels very much like it's calling me out on regards to my creative projects that I was planning to do today. Hi Scott. For other people, take of it what you will. This is the thing, when you pull a card and you're sort of applying it to everyone, it's very sort of general, isn't it? Like I could read 10 different things into that and it would fit different people. Do you know what I mean? So I tried to go with what I think and then add a different element. Like it could be to do with your losing your willpower or needing to shake up. It's feeling shaken rather than shaken up. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I haven't done like readings on video for a long time. So because I think I just need to pull the bandage off, don't I, and just do it and stop like, we all interpret things differently anyway, because we all bring our own lived experience as well. 5 of Staffs, divinatory meanings, unsatisfied desires, struggle, labour, violent, strife, and obstacles. And then it says for reverse meanings, trickery, contradictions, complexity, involvement, caution against indecision. So obviously not all of us read reversals. I tend not to read reversals with sort of situational scenic decks. But you could read that as in the shadow aspect, couldn't you? I liked hearing your thoughts for your situation now for the card. Thank you, Katie. Right, well, I better bugger off and go eat something before I chew my arms off. And yeah, it was lovely just doing this random live. I am going to start making listings for the tarot pouches that I've put aside. Oh, and yesterday I was so pleased with myself because I'm not great with video stuff, but I made a video to like promote my shop restock next week, and yeah, I was really pleased with it. So, and I did my first ever premiere yesterday as well, to share it. It's like 90 seconds long. It's a minute and a half. So it really, if those of you want to see a little sneaky peek of some of the decks, deck pouches, that'd be really cool. Saying shameless self-promotion at the end there. Why not, right? I've got to be my own advocate and my own like cheerleader as a self-employed person. Thanks, Katie. That was good, feeling that energy. Thanks. So Scott, you've come in at the end, my dear. But yeah, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your weekend, whether you've got a tiny bit left, like those of you that are here from Australia, or whether you've got quite a bit left for those of you that are to the other side of the Atlantic to me. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao, folks.